Welcome back to part 2 of my Deeper Down Spectrum update. I don't even know what to call this anymore, but welcome back. So we're going to start with the basic progression, and then we'll touch on some of the stuff as it comes up. I will add markers and time codes to try and make this easy as possible to follow, but I know sometimes with the way this mod works, and the way my brain works, frankly, that there are going to be moments where I'm going to go, oh, by the way, and that does happen. And as always, if I do something wrong, if I get some information, any of that information, if I got something messed up or have something you want to share, please leave it in the comments. I will credit you and probably pin it the comment at the top. I will add any errata or anything that needs to be added to the description bar as well. And some of this was recorded a little bit out of linear path, so it's going to jump around a little bit, but hopefully it's not too disjarring. But with that, let's get started. Now, there's a few things I want to go over that are not to be underestimated. For example, the crushing mechanic is a lot more extensive than most people realize. For example, I found out today that you can crush concrete back into concrete powder. Prismarine goes into prismarine shards. All versions of deep slate go back into cobble deep slate. End stone will go and turn into sand. So it affects a large number of blocks, not just spectrum, but also in vanilla. You can mine the moonstone clusters like this. And then you can go and put them in your workstation, in your pedestal. To upgrade it. Now, I've completed the upgrade to the pedestal, to the monument. And this is set up almost exactly the same as it is in the church down below, short of the pieces that go right there. And as soon as you're done with it, it tells you there's yet another upgrade available. And this shows you the other pieces that you need to go gather from that city. Now, these blocks are directional. You have to make sure you're facing the right way when you place them, or they didn't go in. I like that shows you a little hologram that gives you a good idea of what they are and where they're supposed to go. It's very helpful. I don't know if the rendering on this has changed from the last couple versions I played, but I feel like it's a lot more clear to see what they are, and maybe it's just my graphical settings. So there. And then click. Now we can go mine malachite, which shows up at negative 306, I believe. But all this is necessary to unlock the next major resource, which should now be visible on my wall over here. There it is. Now, this also opens one other thing that is really necessary for progression, and that is called the Crystallarieum. Oh, and while I'm thinking about it, I'm sorry, this block, this apothecary, essential. It's essential. Build one, stick them in your geodes. This is going to save you so much time. Just ridiculous. I don't think it works as a chunk loader. I think what it does, based off of the code, because I was looking at the code, is it simulates the time that has passed and collects the shards that would have been there if the chunk was loaded and maintained the entire time. So it's not actively loading the chunk, which is good for really high population servers where you've got a lot of chunks going on. That way you don't actually overload a server. But just make it. Seriously, just make it. It is going to save you so much time. The other thing is this thing. This little contraption allows you to grow crystals, amongst other things, like netherite. Yep, you can grow netherite in this. So it is really useful. The recipes are sometimes not really straightforward as far as how they're supposed to function, but the main mistake I made is the crystals themselves, you don't right-click and place them, you throw them on. And then it attaches to the top, and then you right click and replace the reagents of the paint. And you do need pigment, quite a bit of it. And so having a color picker, one for every single color that you can pull out of, is really fantastic. Now, I personally would heavily suggest, if you're playing this without extra mods like create a farm of the colored pigments, because you're going to go through quite a bit of ink of almost every single color depending on what you choose to do. Some things use yellow, some things use like gray. Like the Cinder Hearth uses 4 different colors. Orange and black especially are really important for that one. So it's just worth your while to make sure you have the supplies available to use them, especially if you're going to get really deep diving into this and everything that this mod can do. And this little thing is fantastic. The fact that you can grow netherite is just so cool. I love that so much. It's also necessary for refinement. So what you're seeing here is unrefined raw malachite. There is a refined form. And the process of refinement is very, very simple, really. You throw down the Crystallarieum, you take the malachite in this case, you're going to throw it on top. You don't right click it and put it on. That was a mistake I was making. And then you put the redstone powder, the powder of necessary type that's into it. And then you use the paint. And I believe this color here is directly proportional to what paint it is. And right click. And it puts the paint above it. Now, it's going to slowly drain the paint and consume the ink and the powder. And eventually this will grow up into a refined version. You can grow and refine, I think, just about every type of metal type of crystal in the game. Redstone, gold, quartz, netherite. It's kind of crazy. This little block does everything. So while this is doing a thing, we're going to go into the deeper down. And we're going to go show you what to expect when you're looking for raw malachite. Something to note, there are 2 more biomes down here that are not exclusively spectrum, but they are new because of spectrum. These 2 biomes are known as the Deep Barrens and the Deep Dripstone Caves. Now, these are generally speaking above the Howling Ford and whatnot. I have never seen these below anywhere else. These are all almost always, as far as I can tell, at the upper levels of the deeper down as you come down. Now, I have never found any of these naturally. I've always had to actually go do a biome locate. But again, your seed may vary and your version may vary depending on whether you're on AOF 7 or on the 1.9 that he just put out. There's some stuff there that I haven't gone through yet. So some of this may have changed. That do not take my word as law. Please don't ever do that. But I just wanted to make sure that I did let people know that yes, these do exist. Yes, they are here, and it's almost exclusively vanilla stuff down here. There's a few things like the abyssal vines, and you get some shell and some slush and what have you that do spawn at these levels. But most of it is vanilla level type of materials. Yes, one more thing to note, important thing to note. This structure exists at the very bottom of the world. This is known as downstone. This is basically the equivalent of bedrock. Now, as far as I'm aware, at least in the current version, this isn't doing anything except for prevent you from actually leaving the world. Now, there are a few places where this does exist, just in the wall, and there's nothing buried in it, so I suspect these are placeholders for future content, but I don't know what that would be. Now, in the buildings down here, you have some new preservation chests that have different types of materials. You have the little roundels. There's some books in here. I found a couple of different tools and things in here, spectrum specific. Mostly this is just a good loot place. Hey, look, downstone fragments. And this is why I think the downstone is going to be used for something eventually. But right now, aside from potions, I don't think these are used for anything else. At least, again, at the time this video was released, again, don't take my word as law. This mod is very extensive, and there's a lot of things that I know I'm missing and overlooking, and I have no idea what any of that is. There is some lore attached to this one that's a little bit more obscure. If you look a bit more closely, this looks like a drill. And they are clearly trying to get into something. So there is a whole lost civilization down here. There's a lot of lore. If you stop and read through the books and different things, especially in the Undergrowth Manor, there's a huge story that talks about how life survived down here and what they did and their different things for the overworld, and there's a lot. If you love a good story and you like hunting for the story or trying to figure out what it is and maybe make up your own story of what it is, because not all the pieces are there. He leaves things open for your imagination, which I really appreciate that. This is a really good place to do it. There's a lot down here that you can really investigate and dig into. Now this is where we get into a little bit more of the version discrepancies between where you pick up the mod and how old it is. In the AOF 7, the only place I could find Malachite was at negative 306 in the Crystal Gardens. But in this version, I had my best luck in an Oxroom Forest. Now again, I'm at negative 299, but as you can see, it spawns pretty regularly almost anything underground in this area. I don't know what the Y level limitation is, but it looks like your highest density is about the 290 range. Just as an FYI, there's a lot of materials. There's a lot of gold with it too. So if you're wandering around and you find gold, the chances are you're gonna run into malachite. That seems a pretty good chase. Now again, like I was saying earlier, there's downstone everywhere. This is probably gonna be used for something later. I have no idea what though. So, and I couldn't find anything in code that said it was suggested otherwise. That, or I'm just looking at the wrong code because it is an extensive amount of code. Now, in the Spirit Distillery, you can distill this memory into something called a Kindling. Kindlings are kind of neat little creatures. Ow! Until they kill you. Oh! That's right. Oh, side note. The night dew will grow overnight if you're sleeping near it. At least that's been my experience so far. And this is what the Bismouth buds look like on the walls. They're very colorful. They're hard to miss. Well, that was a fun jaunt. Now let's talk about a few things that need to be done for progression. First and foremost is the Bismuth cluster. Now, I had already put down an iron block. You put the bud on it, and then you wait. I'm just going to speed up tick rate. And then you mine it. This gives you the crystal. Go, wait, nope, nope, nope. Now you can shear these guys. And you get feathers that I don't have unlocked yet. And then they can be distilled into bloodstone. Same thing if you fuse crystal bucket, the liquid crystal, the azurite, the malachite, and the bloodstone, you get something special and you get a funny advancement out of it. By the way, shearing these guys makes them very angry at you. They will kill you almost instantly. They do quite a bit of damage, as you can see. And I don't think there's any way to tame them. So when you spawn this guy in, make sure you put him in a room or somewhere he can't hurt anyone. Because he does ouch. Making a kindling requires one of two recipes. Now, neither one of them are terribly expensive, especially once you get to the deeper down. They're pretty easy to come across. Now, the thing you need to bear in mind is the amounts, of course, are necessary. And you have to do the dragon bone chunks, which are also necessary. We're going to run up here. And now we've got a kindling egg. We're just going to, because that was a full stack, we're going to just take this memory. We're going to come over here. And we're just going to let it sit there and manifest. Eventually, in this form, the kindling will actually hatch into an actual kindling. Like the guy over here somewhere that keeps attacking me. This dude right there. Now, my understanding is based off of what I've seen on the Discord is having two of them is not a bad thing. Because they will play with each other rather than kill you. And they'll attack each other till they're both just about dead and then stop and then heal. So, it'll just give them something else to do. So while we're waiting for this to do its thing, let's go to the Undergrowth Manor. And this is the Undergrowth Manor. It is quite large and it goes quite deep. There's a few things here to note that it is full of libraries. I haven't found any traps or anything of that nature, but it's where you're going to find most, if not almost all the books you're going to need, including the Brewer's Handbook, which is going to be in here somewhere. Now, if I look at Jade, there it is. And this is going to give you a lot of recipes for different things you can make. Most of it's food. There's a couple of alcoholic recipes in here, but most of it is food. We're just going to put that back. Now the other interesting thing is there are armor stands of full netherite amongst other things in here. It is probably worth your while to go through and explore this. A lot of it is the same kind of stuff you've seen. There's enchanting tables, there's books, there's different rooms, there's lots of different lecterns with different little stories and bits and lore pieces all over the place. It is, if you're interested in the lore, you're interested in the story of how things and why things are the way they are, this is definitely a place you want to come to. Look, loot isn't generated. Oh wow, glass peach, night dew sprouts, and blossoms. So this has got some decent loot, end game loot at that. But what we're interested in right now is the secret preservation room and how to get into it. Hi, post-editing Anki here. Quick addendum for the Undergrowth Manor. My initial exploration of the manor was woefully incomplete, and there's a lot of things in it now that I've looked at it quite a bit more that I need to go through and add. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up making an independent episode specifically for the manor because there's just that much going on, and there's a lot of things that get very confusing, and there's a lot more to know. So while the data here in the rest of this video is still good, it's not 100% accurate, so your mileage again may vary. But look forward to a new video specifically for the manor in the future. I do want to get the progression stuff done and out of the way first. Now, I don't know if every Undergrowth Manor is laid out exactly the same, but in my case, the chamber down to the preservation chamber was very close by. It was right here. Now, the thing that's interesting is that this, it doesn't look boarded up initially, but it's listed as boarded up because I realized that these were supposed to be barricades. And there is another room in here with a heartbound chest I couldn't open. It's got some infused drink, some stardust, and some different things. Now, it took me a long time to realize that the negative effects on this, the mental presence, is the important part. And that's what the night dew does. It's the solemnity effect. Reduces your mental presence by 10%. And each one only gives you 50% chance of actually getting it. So you can, eat it 4 or 5 times before it'll actually affect you because it's 50% chance. Now, I have never actually been in here beyond outside of that door until just now. So we're going to figure some of this out together here. All right, so after 45 minutes of getting very lost in this maze of jagged idols, I can contest that it is very disorienting, and most of it's flooded. Bring water-breathing potions, lots of them. And the goal is to end up inside of this room of black glow block, and then you right-click this preservation controller, and you get the little completion chime. The secondary thing is once that's happened, you can get in through this door and get into this chest. The other room I couldn't figure out how to get into was this one. I never did find the portal in. Now, what's interesting is everyone's sleeping. And okay. That's wakey. Oh, there's a book. And lots of potions. Okay. Dreams of Deep Light, Age of Peace. So he's not dead. He's asleep. Like everything else. Okay. After about 20 minutes, I think I finally figured out how these things work. The jagged idols will teleport you to a location adjacent to it, provided you are looking at that location. And it will teleport you to the closest one to that location. It is based off of your mouse location pointing, not your movement itself. Now, that is very confusing, so let me demonstrate. This jagged idol, if I'm looking this direction, it's going to teleport me adjacently to the closest one that direction first. And it is only going to do that if I'm looking that way. So if I step on it, it teleported me to this one and then to this one because it was still facing the same direction. But I came from here. So not knowing the maze path, your best course of action, short of having free cam like I do, is to actually draw a paper map. Which makes this very confusing and dangerous considering how many of the pathways are actually flooded. So this is challenging to say the least. Frustrating at the very most. But your goal is to get into this room and click this block, because this one unlocks a door. Which door? This door. Then get through and get to this chest, which drops Aether Vigises. Now, there are 2 of these. I've not been in this one yet. So, just for the sake of simplicity, down some fragments, right? I should write. And nothing else of really of value. Alright, so the only thing really of any significant value down here that I have found so far has been the Aether Vigises, whatever this is. Everything else has been something you can pick up anywhere else. That and this book, which has been kind of a challenge to get to. I never did figure out how to get back into there without actually like cheating my way through by using spectator mode. This, in my opinion, needs a revamp. This has really got a tough curve and is probably going to put a lot of people off from doing anything else with the mod. Actually, with that, we're going to call this episode here. I do have more footage already recorded. I think I have the last little bit of progression all done. I just need to finish editing the footage. Afterwards, I will do my best to stay on top of updates, because it's going to be a lot easier to do small videos of updates of what's going on rather than these gigantic ones that take hours on end. So I will have this one out and the previous one and hopefully the next one out soon, within a week or less. And I will see you again soon. Goodbye for now.